So I've put a good amount of time here into the First Descendant since launch, and there are quite a few things I have learned along the way. A lot of stuff it took me quite a while to figure out. The first one that I'm going to be showing you in this video, I actually just found that out last night. So there's still a ton to learn because not everything is just super straightforward in this game. So I'm going to be showing you guys 5 things I wish I knew and just general tips that I wish I knew at the start of the First Descendant. If you're seeing this video as it goes live, I'll be live on Twitch, so hopefully I'll see you guys over there. If you have any sort of questions or just want to come hang out, make sure you come on over to the stream. But let's go ahead and jump into these 5 things I wish I knew. So like I said at the start, this first thing is one that I just learned yesterday, and I really wish I knew it sooner because it's been incredibly helpful for farming some of these endgame materials. Mainly from these recon missions. These things have a 5-minute cooldown on them between defeating them. So if you're in a public game and some random person destroys this, you're kind of out of luck for the next 5 minutes, which really stinks. But there's one thing we can actually do is here in the top left next to the name of the map, you can actually click on this button and it will change it to between public and private depending on which one you want. So in our case, we're really going to want private. That way we run into no other people. That way these are not getting taken before we get there, and it's really going to help out your farming. Because a lot of the times, if you're in a public game, you'll spawn into the map and you're just going to see this timer on there, and it really stinks. Also, a way that you can kind of reset these from time to time is by changing servers. So to do that, you just like swap maps. And a lot of times, if you're trying to do that on public, you're going to find more and more instances where people have already completed this. While on a private game, there are some times you can get back in your own server, but you can bounce between a lot of fresh ones and get these on their resets a lot more often instead of waiting that full 5 minutes. So the private mode is really helpful, and it is really nice for if you just want to do a mission by yourself, you don't want to deal with increased health scaling, anything like that. Private is definitely the way to go. So the second thing that I wish I knew when I started playing the First Descendant was to immediately get to crafting the adjustment control axes. Just get a huge stockpile. You're not going to be using these very often to begin with, but later on in endgame, when you're trying to make your perfect weapons, you're going to be using these a lot. So the adjustment ones are for purple weapons. The fine adjustments are going to be for your gold. So you're going to want a stockpile of each of them because it does get very expensive to re-roll the passives on your weapons. So you're just going to want these cooking basically at all times. Whenever they're done making, go ahead and start making a new one, unless you're making a ton of other stuff, but try to keep those on a constant crafting cycle. So if we go ahead into the workbench here and look at our weapon readjustment, if we take a look at the Thunder Cage, for example, I have 51 of these right now. I really wish I had more because here in a second, like I would obviously want to keep my firearm attack and the crit damage, but say I want to go for like a higher crit rate and something else that's electric attack, I can lock these to keep them there. But now this is getting more and more expensive. So now it's going to cost 5 to reroll. Say I didn't even want to risk the critical hit rate. If I lock that third one, it now jumps up to 20. So I only get 2 rolls here to get the thing I want, and I'm going to have to keep crafting a bunch more. So this is why you're always going to want to have these on a crafting loop. The liquid metal that you get from these, you can you're going to have a bunch of those as long as you're dismantling all of the different trash items that you get. You're gonna have a bunch of these materials, and it's really not too tough as long as you are maintaining a constant loop of crafting and also farming. So not too bad. Definitely get a stockpile of those. Really gonna help out your end game. So for our third thing, it's gonna still be in the realm of firearm passives. So a good example would be this cavalry gun that I have right here. It has a couple blue passives, a gold passive, and a purple passive, which means they're in the high range of their rolls, if they're gold, purple, whatever. One thing that you guys should note is you should not be re-rolling these as you are taking like a gun up. So like the Thunder Cage is something that I've used for a very long time, and as I was leveling it up, every time I did so, my passives become more and more useless because the passives actually do not change level with the guns, and I can show you that here with the cavalry gun. So if I take this cavalry gun, go ahead and level it up to level 100, like I said, it has a gold and a purple passive on here, but once I level it up here to 100, we can take a peek. They're all just grayed out because they're still that level 1 passive range. They're still very small rolls. So once we go into our weapon readjustment, if I re-roll these, you can see I can then get the different rarities back on the rolls. So right there, you can see I get a bunch of purples again, and now these passives are finally in the level 100 range. So as you are taking a gun up, like say the Thunder Cage through your campaign or whatever, don't worry about upgrading and re-rolling all of your different passives. Just maybe do it once at like, level 50 or so. Just get something mildly decent and then just keep that until you're at 100. And then from there, you can start looking for your perfect rolls. Don't constantly be trying to re-roll these or think that something's broken. They're just not going to be leveling up with your gun. So I would just do it once if you're starting off with like a level 1 gun. Whatever level you're at, re-roll it that first time after you upgrade, and then leave it until you get to 100. It's going to save you a bunch of those re-roll materials that I said that we really need to be stocking up on if you plan on having a perfect weapon here within the end game. Now, our fourth thing on this list is something that I still am genuinely shocked that a lot of people don't know about. I see it all the time, like, hey, where do I get this? Where do you get that? What does this mod do? I see these questions all the time, and all you have to do in this game is open up your map and then move over to the Access Info tab. And this is going to have everything that you need. You can track things that you're farming and just look through every single thing in the game. The game is going to tell you where it come from. It is one of the most helpful tabs in the entire game. So for me right now, I'm trying to farm the Python. So how I would actually find this is I just click on weapon. I can go through, like how I was determining what to farm is I was just clicking on each of these and then opening up their details tab and looking at their unique abilities and just seeing what they do, what seemed very interesting. So the Python being one of them. So if I click on it, you can see what you need for everything, where to get every single piece for these weapons. So if you hover over an item, you can hit acquisition info. So a lot of these though are these amorphous materials, and they're just gonna be like some random number. So a way that I actually utilize this tab though would be with the actual like amorphous material. So if I'm within a lot of amorphous material farming scenario, say I was looking for the Python, I can then just type in the Python here into the amorphous material, and every single one that's going to show up is going to contain something to do with the Python. So if I want to specifically farm the Python polymer, if I then type in Python polymer, if I could type, we can see here are the 4 that are going to actually drop the Python polymer. And the reason you want to do this is because if you're in late endgame like I am and you kind of have your choice on where you want to be farming, you're going to want to avoid things like this. So this is a 6% chance for the Python polymer, while something like this is a 32% chance. So this is where you're going to want to actually use this method of looking for what you want and pick the amorphous material with the highest chance, or maybe the highest chance and having backup options in there as well. Like Isimo would be really nice, or Kyle would be really nice to be farming up. Or even more important, the crystallization catalysts. These things are super tough to come by, and you want as many as possible just because these items in this game are so capacity hungry. You're going to need a million catalysts. So just doing this with like amorphous materials or knowing anything else about the game is so helpful when it comes to the Access Info tab. If you want to learn how to get anything within the game, any descendants, where to get their parts, this is going to be where you are going to. There's a lot of really cool ways you can use this Access Info tab, and I highly recommend getting used to it and using it all the time, tracking the items that you're farming for. It's really going to help you out in the long run. Now, the final thing I wish I knew, and it was something that I kind of struggled with early on because I wanted to try all these different descendants, all these different guns, experiment with a lot of different stuff. And early on and even late game, like everything is so material hungry in terms of like Kuiper shards or crystallization catalysts, energy activators. Like you don't come across these things super often. So my advice to you would be invest into one weapon and one descendant. Pick one of each that you're really going to enjoy. So for me, I wanted Bunny just because everything goes really quick and is very versatile for bossing and also just getting through content incredibly quickly. So like Bunny was the easy choice for me. That's where I use one of my energy activators on, and is just where I'm putting a lot of the mods that I got going on. So there's a ton of investment here within my Bunny. And the second place being the Thunder Cage, just because it is once again really good at mobbing, which is like where mainly a lot of your time playing is going to be. And also it can still do bossing. Like I am through most of the hard mode bosses solo on just using this weapon. And once again, I'm still missing quite a bit of investment here. I'm missing 3 mod slots, so I just need more crystallization catalysts. So it really doesn't even have to be like a boss and gun that you're investing into. Just pick something that can do everything, and that in my case is the Thunder Cage. I really do like this weapon, and once I get it fully maxed out, I'm going to be melting through all the hard bosses with this thing. So just pick one of each to invest into, something you enjoy, something you think is going to be very helpful. And then from there, once you get both of those things maxed out, then you can start going into investing into other Descendants, other weapons. So like right now, I actually have a bunch of different Descendants ready to go. Like I have a Max Fiesta, but I haven't done anything with her, Freyna and Valby, and I want to do some investment into these, but it just makes way more sense for me to max out my bunny first. It's going to make farming and investing into these much quicker and much easier. So I really, really do recommend that you guys just pick one weapon, one Descendant, and just go to town on them. Yeah, those are 5 things that I really wish I knew when I was starting out my journey within the First Descendant. These have really helped me out once I've started implementing them into my own games. It's made my time a lot more efficient and just a lot more stress-free. So hopefully you guys did find this helpful. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up on it to let me know. Also consider subscribing for more First Descendant content. I'm doing this all completely free to play. I'm not going to be spending a penny within this game. So if you guys are interested in any sort of free to play relevant material on the game, builds, anything like that, make sure you are subscribed. I'm going to have a Thunder Cage build out soon, my bunny once it's all done, but they are taking a little bit of time just because I am doing free to play stuff. But once again, hopefully I'll see you over on Twitch. I'll be live at the time of posting this video. But anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. See ya.